4 rounds down in the Season 6 Area Truck Series, and with trips to Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina all in the books, it's time to head back to the Northeast to a track with as nasty a reputation as any one of the classic NASCAR tracks. Welcome to Delaware, to this concrete canyon with high banks on corners and straightaways alike. It isn't an Air Force base, although there's one nearby, but with the descriptions of takeoffs and landings into and out of each of these tricky corners, you'd be fooled into thinking this is a military operation. Well, the drivers might need all their weapons at the ready to take on Miles the Monster at Dover. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Monster Mile here in Dover, Delaware. Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn tonight for our 5th round of the season. We go road racing next week, but we take on an oval at least one more time before the rest of the season here, Connor. And, well, we haven't had any repeat winners yet this year, but this track demands respect, and it definitely having experience is going to pay off.
Yeah, I think experience is going to pay off, whether from last night or in seasons past. You're going to take everything you've learned from this racetrack over the seasons, over the years of iRacing experience, and put it into this one race. It's going to be a hot and slick track, even hotter than what we saw last night. So it's going to be pretty treacherous conditions for a series that has struggled to get things off the ground as we look at how fast everyone was in practice. No surprise to see Sebastian Marin at the top of the charts after winning by 2/1000th of a second last week. Bappy, Venable, Moose, Weishart all at the top. 3-time Cup winner of the season, Seth Knoll, is in 6th. Cameron Hearn, the only former winner in the Truck Series here at Dover, he'll start 7th. Jake Nichols, the points leader, by 10 over Michael Venable. He's in 9th, but a lot of strong names up at the front, and that's what we're going to see tonight, the strongest of names at the front of the field at a track this tough.
Yeah, certainly you mentioned the number 4 sorry, he's not number 4 here, is he? 67, Cameron Hearn. He has had a disastrous start to the Cup Series season. He really would like to turn some things around and get himself a nice result here tonight in the Truck Series action. 130 laps is the race distance this evening. This is a race that'll go by pretty quick here, Connor, especially if it stays green flag. The laps are fast here, 23 seconds around here in anger, and tire wear is going to be a huge deal, as it always is at Dover.
It certainly should be. With the way that the laps are laid out, you should be able to make it no problem on one stop as far as fuel goes, but what are the tires going to feel like if we get to that point? We got a 50-lap run at the beginning of the Cup race. I was dying. I know others around me, my teammates, were dying to get the pit road, but with the risk of a yellow happening under green, especially with how tough pit entry is, the toughest pit entry in the series, you didn't want to take that risk, and no one did, and we got that yellow eventually. But with how much faster the corner speeds are, that's where the trouble is with the right front and right rear tires. With how fast the corner speeds are, it's just a completely wild lap in a truck here, so that's where the tire wear is coming from. That's the concern.
So qualifying is underway, and Connor, unless anything has changed last minute, we've only got 43 trucks tonight, which is a full field, but it should mean that no one has to go home, so everyone can just focus on getting a nice clean lap. They don't have to worry about missing the boat. They'll all get to race tonight, and the worst you can do is start last.
Yeah, unless someone joins in the next probably 2 to 3 minutes, that's probably what would happen. Would have a full 43 truck field and no one would go home. But if someone else joins in the next 2 minutes, one person will go home. You got to go fastest regardless of whether you think you're safe or not. Daniel Day, he is safe with a charter as we get one of the onboards of him tonight, as we've had pretty much all season long with him. This is going to be how wild this lap is. It's very slick out there today, very loose off the corners. You can see him kind of fighting it even halfway down the back straightaway, but he tried his hardest to wrap turns 1 and 2, but it is a 2-lap queue tonight, so you're really going to use that first lap as a warm-up lap. You're going to cut outside to inside out of turn number 4, try not to tap the wall on exit, and then do it all over again, both ends of the racetrack. Dives right where the concrete meets the asphalt, jerks it up maybe a groove higher just to get that arc out of the corner like he needs to. Then throttle down the back straightaway. Try to do the same thing in 3 and 4. It's a little bit different from 1 and 2, but the general line is still the same. It looked like he really tried to wrap it that time, which is kind of what you want to do with how high the corner speeds are. He'll be one of the first drivers to put a time down, and he's actually going to go fastest for the time being.
Did you see the sigh of relief when he saw that name climb the charts? I love watching people's reactions to their qualifying efforts just to see how they're doing. Cameron Hearn has just jumped to the into the mix, I should say. 67 went 17th. And Jonathan Evans in the number 9. We've seen him up at the front, haven't we? A couple times so far this season. Here he comes down the back straightaway in the number 9.
Has that win at Daytona, but he really hasn't had luck past that. But as long as he stays top 20, runs all the races he needs to. That's his ticket into the playoffs regardless, so he'll take it, but he needs to get some sort of luck going here. So he'll come across the line, I believe his first lap, 154.461, only good enough for 21st. He'll try to go once again through the corners as Sebastian Marin has jumped up to the top. Cameron Hearn went second on his second lap. Jeremy Miller in third. That's a great run for Miller if he can hold somewhere up there. Beckner 8th, Hall 7th, Moose, and then Weishart the top 10 for the time being.
Here comes Jonathan Evans out of turn 4. It's a 23.367, and that'll put him second place. That's a nice, strong effort there by the number 9.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need to start at the front here. You can't really start at the back and make things happen.
What happened to you last night, Connor?
Not much, you know. Caught up in 4.5 incidents to my count. That's kind of what happens. That's the issue of starting at the back, because when a crash happens here, you don't have anywhere to go like other tracks like mile and a halves, where you can go to the grass like we saw last week at Charlotte. We saw that AstroTurf get a workout, but you really cannot afford to be behind the crashes, because if it's at the top, if you're stuck at the bottom, it's going to come right down into you with the way the pavement, with the way the banking works, I should say. So you need to be at the front of the field.
Reese Schaefer goes 8th quick, and they call this place the self-cleaning racetrack, and that's because of the high banking even on the straightaways. But it's kind of like one of those fancy European public bathrooms that self-cleans. You get trapped in it, you can't get out, and it cleans you up with the mess sometimes, as you experienced last night. Here's Seth Knoll, who won last night, his 3rd win of the Cup Series season. Jake Nichols, the championship leader, goes 3rd quick, and Knoll in the 609 truck rockets into turn 3 here up the racetrack. Wide line, but this is that first lap, Connor, that you said would sort of be a throwaway.
Yeah, that's kind of what everyone aimed for yesterday. It's what everyone aimed for tonight and Thursday. You'll see the same thing, just kind of running slow, not trying to wear the tires out too much on lap 1, but still trying to get enough heat in where he can go for it lap 2 and not slide around. That's what Knoll did there, but he's still edgy off the corner, but he was able to make it work as he'll come through 3 and 4 to complete lap 2. Connor Yershak just went fastest, 23.313, much faster than a lot of other drivers. A 10th ahead of 5th place Ernest. Here comes Seth Knoll. He's going to try to contest that off the corner, 157.026. Good enough for 3rd position, so he'll take that, going for back-to-back wins on back-to-back nights.
Yeah, 5 trucks have yet to qualify. One of those, Jake Matheson, was not able to complete his qualifying effort, ran 3 laps. None of them counted, or 2 laps, I should say. Lucas Strayer in the 41 up the racetrack on the first of his qualifying laps. He's going to be the last truck to make an effort, but it's too late to get a full run in, Connor. This is all he's going to get.
Yeah, he should have gone to the low line. He didn't give himself enough time. He'll be pretty much at the back with Matheson and a few others who didn't put a time down. We did not have a 44th driver join. Everyone makes the field. Garrett Grant, Jake Matheson, Adam Capps, Justin Sogak. They're the 4 drivers who were not able to put a time down.
Now, well, I'm surprised to see the 52 down there. He's not one of the drivers that has an EOL here this week, so he just didn't get a very good qualifying run. So everyone makes the field, and yeah, he just tapped the wall twice, but that's a mistake in rare form for Jake Matheson.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to make his night oh so tough. And he's had a lot of issues tonight. Not tonight, but this season, he's had a lot of ups and downs in the truck series. He was fast at Pocono, got crashed there. He's clearly fast in practice, but he's going to have to come from the back in a short amount of time, as we'll get the EOLs. We actually have to go over those. Seth Knoll, we saw that good qualifying time he had. It's not going to matter. He has end-of-line penalty, as do a number of other drivers, like Drew Jua, if he was here. I don't know if he is or not. Brad Slaughter, Justin Sogak, and Robert Colgan, who I don't believe the 94 is here. That's why Sogak didn't qualify, because he has one of those EOL penalties.
Get a look at some of our onboard cameras tonight. A lot of the usual folks giving us some perspectives inside their rigs. There's Travis Beckner, who's jamming to some tunes before he goes racing tonight.
Sponsored by Sunoco.
Yeah, there he is. Saw Daniel Day. Ricky Springer is still not yet back from his break.
Where is he? We lost Ricky.
He gone. John Hall out on track practicing for the moment, and JT Poole is also gone for a quick break.
Ricky's going to take the seat.
Does he have his window open? Is that behind the...
Probably. It could be his seat.
So at my previous...
Oh, there he is.
There he is. So at my previous apartment, my rig was right up against a window, and it was really nice to be able to open up that window and get some fresh air when you're in the heat of battle. And I guess my current rig is still sort of in that position, but it's a little tricky to get to the window because of how tight this room is. I don't know if I've ever showed anybody. I guess we'll take this opportunity now. So don't know if this is going to be a good idea, but I'll turn this around. I have a box of cables on my rig. But so there's the rig here. And you see it's really tight to get to that closet and the window back there. But there's the sim running the equipment. There's the cat sleeping over there. And then spin back around. There's all my cables and a NOS can. I call that the umbilical. That carries a bunch of important things, including the internet. And then back over here, we've got our triple screens, and we're going racing here tonight at Dover. So there's a little bit of an inside look into the SimTV office, so to speak.
If I buy a cable management thing, we can just get a NOS can.
Yeah, so the cable management thing, I tend to be pretty specific about my cable management, except as seen there. It's just more challenging to get a bunch of extension cables to make it all run really neat, and I don't really ever touch it anyway. So, yeah, it would suck, or it does suck when things are. I actually broke an HDMI cable the other day adjusting a monitor because it was already at the extent of what it could make. But here, I'll show you again. So on the back, I've got these two upper monitors here, and I've got all the cat here on the back of them because of Apollo hanging out. And then I've got this big ultra wide here. But the cable, the HDMI cable that goes into this unit was stretched all the way across to the back of the main tower over here. And you can't see it, but there's actually another tower underneath that desk that is the sim computer. And so there's just a lot of cables running places, and it can be tricky to service them in certain circumstances. But anyway, warm-up is continuing here at Dover. Said that we could look like we could launch a nuke from here. Yeah, it's serious business. Took a couple of years to build. I mean, this is year 6 of SimTV, and it started with just a very simple tower with 8 gigs of RAM and a 1050 Ti and a $15 Amazon microphone. And yeah, this is the here one more time. Here's the that's my audio mixer there, the big girl. So.
Yeah.
All that aside, let's head down to the racetrack here in just a moment's time and get you through your starting lineup here tonight. But race fans, make sure you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel and check those Area iRacing emotes out. You can use them in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. And for Central Mobile Homes, our starting grid partner, looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. Well, let's head down to the racetrack. We got a 43-truck starting lineup for our 5th round of the season. On the front row, it's Connor Urashak in the number 12, and Sebastian Marin rolls off to his outside of the number 32.
Seth Knoll qualified third. He'll go to the back with an end-of-line penalty, however, so he'll have to come from the back. Jonathan Evans won't have to come from the back. He's trying to back up his Daytona win. Needs some better luck. He starts 4th.
Row number 3, Jake Nichols, championship leader in the number 73. Cameron Hearn would really like to turn around his cup luck here in the trucks. He starts 6th in the number 67.
Then 7th place, Jeremy Miller. I think he will take a 7th place qualifying effort after what happened last night. He starts 7th. Michael Venable, who I believe is 2nd in points, starts alongside him in 8th.
9th place, Daniel Day in the number 61. Matthew Batby rolls off 10th in the number 89 truck.
Reese Schaefer's in the 07 truck. He'll start 11th. Drew Jua, I believe, also has an end-of-line penalty, but qualified in the 12th position.
And starting in row number 7, 13th place, Ricky Springer. In the number 51, Trey Eitzen rolls off 14th in the number 70.
15th position, John Hall, almost a winner last week, winner at Texas a few weeks ago. He's alongside Edward Scherer Jr. in 16th.
And 17th place will be Travis Beckner in the number 28. Patrick Moose rolls off 18th in the number 38 truck.
19th position goes to the 33 of David Weishart. He will start alongside JT Poole, who we have an onboard with. Poole will start 20th.
21st place, Brad Slaughter Jr. I think you said his 90th start, Connor?
Yes, in trucks.
In trucks. And Danny Ware rolls off 22nd, the number 98.
By the way, didn't know, but the 17 of Scherer, he has a drive-through. He's one of 2 drivers with a drive-through tonight. Eric Wineland, he doesn't have anything going on. He starts 23rd tonight. Gary Waterworth, open driver, brought up as a reserve to 609. He'll start 24th.
Ryan Swan rolls off 25th place. James Shanewoolf, 26th in the number 83.
AC Wygent in the 00, he's had some impressive runs, starts 27th. Jeremy Brown in the 87 truck starts 28th.
29th place is Chris Seiden in the number 45. And Sean Peachin starts 30th in the number 69.
31st position will be Devin T. Johnson in the 90 truck. Bryce Senesac, I believe, making his Truck Series debut for the season tonight. He'll start in 32nd.
33rd place, Casey Lakatos in the number 50. And Dean Gagliano rolls off 34th in the outside of row 17 in the number 18 truck.
Drew Trader in the number 25, starting 35th position in his Silverado, then Toyota Tundra TRD Pro alongside him. It's the 60 of Gabriel Toledo.
Andrew Allen rolls off 37th in the number 96 Silverado. Lucas Strayer 38th in the number 41, the last of the qualifiers.
And then the drivers who didn't put qualifying times down, Tyler Hallman in the 62. I don't believe he even tried to put a time down. Jake Matheson did try to put a time down, but hit the wall on both laps or crashed one or the other. Either way, he starts all the way down in 40th.
41st place, Garrett Grant in the number 5. Justin Anasogak is going to roll on back there as well for Garrett Grant. He's got a drive-through to serve. Justin Anasogak has an EOL. Adam Capps will be the last driver on the starting grid. He will roll off in 43rd place. Quick look at the weather information. It is warm, not as hot as it was last night. 73 in the air, 118 on the racetrack. Relatively low humidity and a nice breeze out of the east. Connor, take your pick. Who you got winning tonight?
Well, both races that have been here in trucks, the winners have started 7th or worse. Season 2, last time we were here, I believe, Hearn won and he was on pole. So I'll go with the easy bait for pole. I'll go Connor Yurashak.
All right, well, I think that, like the speed that Jonathan Evans has, I was going to pick Seth Hill, but it feels too easy. Let's pick the number 9. I think he gets his 2nd win of the season. The stats up to this point don't make me feel that confident about it, but I think he's got the pace to do it. We'll see if he can manage. 130 laps around Dover, Delaware. Connor Yurashak crowds the field up the hill as they head towards the acceleration zone here at the Monster Mile. Miles got a taste last night. What does he have left in store for the Truck Series and the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series? Green flag, and we're racing at Dover. Side by side for the lead into turn 3. Yurashak and Marin. That 32's hanging on tough to the outside.
And Yurashak struggled through 1 and 2. He had Jake Nichols getting air on the spoiler and really loosening him up, but Yurashak held on to at least lead lap 1 as the 5 and the 17 pull in to serve their drive-throughs. That's
going to be a costly drive-through here. 35 miles an hour. It's one of the tightest pit lanes to get onto, so you give up a lot on entry. Will probably end up going a lap down here, but Yurashak pulls ahead to the lead. Now to turn 4, lap 2 complete.
The driver's got to get a lot of room with how slick this track is, how loose everyone seemed out of the corners. You do not want to be on the rear bumper if someone's going to loosen them up, probably get them up the track into the wall, and that will be trouble if that happens. It's trouble if you get pinned to the bottom, though. Jeremy Miller, we saw this last night. If you're stuck on the inside line, you'll be freight trained by that higher up lane. It's kind of what's happening to Miller right now. Daniel Day's gone by, Bappy's going to go by, then Miller finds that pocket to the outside to try to stop the bleeding a little bit right in front of Brittany Springer. Michael Venables on the inside. He's trying to make a pass on the 70 of Trey Eitzen. Now Eitzen's kind of the lonely driver on the top side.
Yeah, what tends to be a challenge here at Dover, it isn't necessarily even the loose condition. It feels like it's the tight condition. When you get off the corner and you're trying to commit to throttle and you bounce off the wall and come across the road, that tends to be the more dangerous of the balances here, I feel. Although side by side when you're slipping and sliding around can be challenging as well. Venable in the 95, 2nd in the championship standings on the outside of Beckner out of 2.
And he just barely got around the outside without tapping that outside wall as they are frantically trying to get around each other at the front. Reese Schaefer way up the track, maybe trying to test something, maybe just letting Patrick Moose by there for the 13th position. But we see a lot of drivers trying their best to give lots of room. Single file for the time being, really throughout the top 20 right now. A lot of drivers letting each other go.
Yeah, and you can see some patience here early. Everyone kind of trickling to the bottom of the racetrack, single file line. Although the outside seemed pretty powerful last night, Connor, how much are the dynamics of this truck? Caution?
Got a crash somewhere at the back. I think Gabriel Toledo got the worst of it.
I was just about to ask, we'll finish this thought, how the dynamics of this truck are going to change the different lanes and things that you'll be experiencing tonight.
I think you're going to see that high line still be a force to be reckoned with as far as defending. It's going to be tough to pass on that bottom if someone's running the high side, particularly our Hendrick County Motorsports Park gets some replay. Looks like Toledo got loose, 13 had nowhere to go. But I think you're really going to try to paint the bottom as much as you can to save those tires. You really don't want to be at the high line, but if you're kind of struggling a little bit for pace, someone's trying to pass you, you're going to force them low, because if they don't make that pass, they are going to go backwards almost certainly if they can't make that pass, and that's the risk of trying to pass here. That bottom line's inviting. You get a lot of room when someone gives it to you, but if you don't make that pass, you could be going backwards, as that's our first caution. It's kind of a slip up by the 60, and the winner of the lucky dog is Garrett Grant, as everyone fakes off a pit road. Some drivers pit, but the 5 kind of served his drive-through before the 17, and that ended up paying off.
Yeah, this works out really nicely for them, actually. It gives a free pass to the 5, and then the 17 will be on deck for the next one. So that kind of puts them in a good spot. A few drivers down pit lane, nobody really doing this for any real strategy reason other than just maybe top off for fuel. If you've got any damage from the opening lap. Seth Knowles down on pit lane, that's a little bit of a surprise, but Connor, when you're back here this far, why not just put a little fuel in the tank?
He is actually putting tires on, which is kind of surprising to me.
This isn't a super long race. Would you use up all your sets, you would think?
Not, you probably don't want to. With how the wear is, you probably want to try to your best to save a set, but I'm kind of shocked he went right sides there. That was really confusing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to get him track position. But how does iRacing handle? Do they just consider right side? Like, is it just 2 tires of a set, and you can use the other 2 wherever you want, or do you get?
Yeah, if you take the rights, you keep the lefts.
But you can't use those. Like they are specifically left side tires. They track all that.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't save a left side set, put up on the right side.
I just was wondering how detailed that was. I don't honestly know. So.
Yeah, they don't allow it.
So that's interesting. Now, what about left side tires? Is there any circumstance under which taking left sides or using that other half of that set would be beneficial?
I mean, I wouldn't think so. I'm not even sure if he meant to do that. I'd kind of be surprised if he did. With how loose it is, usually if you just take those right sides only, it's going to make, I would think it makes it looser. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like no one really wanted to touch 2 tires. I think I saw Adam Cabot do it last night. Seth Knoll might have taken 2 to win the race, but he got out in clean air. Cabot fell backwards when he wasn't in clean air. So this, I don't think it's going to work the same as it did for a few last night.
So take me through the dynamics of the 2 tires and the balance shift, right? Because, again, I'm just thinking about this purely from a physics standpoint. If you've got stickier right side tires, then your lack of grip is going to be on the left. So I guess that would make, wouldn't that cause an well, I guess you're right, it would cause an oversteer, a loose condition.
You get the rear, you got the rights gripping up a lot, but the lefts just can't hold on to what the right side tires are able to do. It just causes it to get really out of control. Every time I've taken 2 tires in a truck, I'm hanging on for dear life. The Cup car is different because it's just a completely different vehicle, and the way the tires wear there and the way the heat cycles in those tires in that car, it just is a completely different thing for whatever reason. But in Xfinity cars and trucks, it's always completely loosening the thing up, unless it's like an open set where you're trying to set it up to make it tight for 2 tires, but that's not what we do here. We do fixed sets, and usually right sides do not help, but we'll see what the 1 does. He actually just came back down. I wonder if he's going to try to take his lefts before the green. Actually, he just came back through pit road, so just kind of laying at the back, I guess.
Yeah, there he is. I mean, again, as you pointed out last night, really easy to get caught up in other people's messes, so I don't know if I'd want to be stuck in no man's land any longer than I would have to be. But you know, maybe waiting for a better opportunity to leapfrog. But let's get rolling. Restarts were challenging last night, spinning cars in first gear. Looks like Euroshak might be down in second. Let's try this again. Lap 11 of 130. Euroshak leads. He's on the inside line. Late restart, up high on the racetrack, and we're back underway from Dover.
Seemingly clean restart. That's not something we saw any leader do last night. Everyone kept them low on the track, but tonight Euroshak's driving them up the track. Marin got all over the rear bumper of the 12. Euroshak tried to cut him off down the backstretch. Marin's looking low.
Yeah, that was interesting. Kind of bring him up almost IndyCar style out of turn 4. But Marin keeping him honest here down the front straightaway. He's going to look to the inside. Big lunge from the 32, trying to get overlap on Jurashak down here at 1.
But Jurashak's going to pinch him off, and it's just so hard to put the power down when someone's pinching you off. You need all that room at a track like Dover. So if you don't get the room you need, you're not going to make that pass low.
Venable in the 95 on the bottom of Reese Schaefer in the 07. Trey Eitzen in the 70 if they're in the mix as well. Patrick Moose watching all of it from 14th place.
Just hoping for some run to get going. It doesn't seem like he really wants to push the issue right now. And once again, it seems like Miller had the same issue again. Got caught on the bottom and now a little bit of a freight train. Eitzen got by. Beckner's going to pass. He might have a hole in front of Reese Schaefer to stay in 11. He will take that gap. It's just the product of restarts. If you're not in the right lane, you can go backwards.
Springer in the 51 trying the outside lane. If it works for him.
Up to the right rear Batby doing it. If you can take someone by surprise, that might be the way to get your passes done. A lot of times on the short run, he got really sideways off the top side. A lot of times when everyone's trying to save, run the bottom, entering the corners pretty softly, you're going to have a lot of room to make fast time on the high line when no one else is up there. That's what Springer's doing right now, and he is trying to haul to the front.
Look how calm he is behind the wheel. He might be tense, but as far as his outward controls, he's very smooth. Little correction there, but very small corrections. He seems like he's in control right now, likes that upper groove. But without a lot of rubber up there, I would anticipate that burning up some tires. That was the thing last night. We saw a lot of comers and goers, drivers that would shoot out of a cannon early in the run, Connor, then would burn up their stuff and drop backwards.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that last night. We saw the long run. Really, a lot of drivers did seem to struggle, but we only got the one long run last night, and it was the first run of the race, a 50-lap run where the track was just getting rubbered in, and then we never really saw that again. So we'll see how the wear is different. Like I said, seems like a lot faster times in the corners, a lot faster speeds in the corners, so I'd be pretty worried for the right front tire specifically, kind of like how the 550 package was here in those old gen of Cup cars where you were hauling around this track.
Side by side out of turn 4, and Ricky Springer's making moves up to the high side. Who else is taking note of this right now? Seems like Trey Eitzen, Jeremy Miller are popping up there as well, but there is progress being made. Is it short-term gain, long-term loss though?
I would think so for the drivers up here. Especially, I would think Springer, he drove exceptionally hard on the first run of this race. We saw him go backwards last night in the Cup race as well. He'll get around the 73 of Nichols for that 4th position. Her and Batby kind of struggled to check up for that, but we saw him fall off last night, but he never got this far up last night, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. I never really got to see up there, so we'll see how much further up he can get, and we'll see if he can maybe even out.
30 at Miller. Bracket on the quarter panel of Daniel Day in the 61. A bunch of those Hendry County Motorsports Park trucks. 3 of them in that shot. Tight quarters here in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and this is where all the action is right now because it's very packed up. From 5th to 15th, truck got really sideways. I think it was Eitzen in front of the bumper of Miller, as Miller's kind of been using that second lane to protect from Day and Beckner, and it's worked out so far, but he's also trying to get back by the 70th Eitzen, who's got sideways off the corner again. Much more orderly at the back of that line. It's almost like a super speedway line. Gary Waterworth at the very back of it in 22nd, pretty spread out after that.
Venable tracking up the hill a little, so is Patrick Moose. But if that 51 is burning up his right side tires, I'd say it's taken, I mean, we're 10 laps since the restart and lots of progress has been made. Is that a tool you can put in the toolbox for late in this race when you're not so concerned about your tires, let's say late race restart, that sort of deal?
I think everyone will have it in their back pocket, I would think. It's kind of what we saw last night. We saw a lot of times as the run went longer, the groove moved up because everyone saw how tough it was to pass on the bottom. So they were basically daring drivers to go down there, giving multiple lanes of room to the point where they were having to block to the outside wall in the middle of the corners. I'm not sure if we'll get the groove that high. We need more off-throttle time for that, but we'll usually still see some grooves get moved up, just trying to defend that right rear and defend that overlap out of the corners. That's really what we're going to be looking at later. I would assume one of the Hendry County trucks in the wall. I think it was Beckner, and Moose is going to get to be inside.
Yeah, just scraped it with the right side. See a lot of damage on that truck, but it does open the door for Patrick Moose in the 38. John Hall is back there as well. And Michael Venable has spent a lot of time side by side with other trucks tonight. Trying to make progress in that 95 from, well, 8th place, trying to get back to where he started.
And Miller, he got under the 30 of Miller. Just that's how hard it is to make a pass. He's been working on it for 2-3 laps. Just came so close to clearing out of 4, but just not enough to make it work because Beckner had another wiggle. This is how hard you need to work to make something happen here. And you see Miller struggling through the center, but trying to gas it up as early as possible to stay alongside Venable, trying to keep that position. It's 95. You know, sooner or later you get sick of it, trying to make things happen. Daniel Day's just watching. He's trying to go with the lane that's moving. Because if Venable can't make this pass, he's just going to jump with the 30 and pass him. Venable hit the apron, and that's going to ruin his run. Miller hit the wall, and Daniel Day did at the same time.
Yeah, and up the road, another one of those Henry County trucks. That's Matthew Batby is working over Cameron Hearns. There's pedals all over the track right now, up here inside and outside of the top 10.
Looks like Miller finally had to let that go. I think we had a crash. Gabriel Toledo's destroyed on pit road, but it did not bring out a yellow. As we're starting to see Ricky Springer really struggle, but yeah, he had a wild crash and no yellow.
All by himself, he was going slow and just big hit there out of 2.
I wonder how damaged that truck really was.
Had a lot of damage on it now, I can tell you that.
I can't believe that wasn't a yellow at a track this small, but it is. We stay green. He's probably done for the night as the top 2 are getting away, and this is kind of what we suspected. Ricky Springer starting to fade.
Yeah, Springer, that happened quickly. So 10 laps in, he was good, right? And now 6 laps, 7 laps later, he's starting to drop. So that's a note for everybody. I know track conditions, rubber is going to change, but 15, 20 laps after you run that outside lane for a while, nope, you're going to drop like a rock, right? So that's a strategy that's very specific and can be played only when you really need to.
And the problem with it, if you get caught on a green flag run after using your stuff up, you have a long way to go before you probably want to make your pit stop. So it is going to be a struggle for him. He ran a 25.4 last time by, which actually wasn't too bad compared to the drivers that just passed him. But the leaders, those top 3 who have really gotten away, they're in the 25.1 bracket range still.
Well, the challenge now is that he's committing to it and running even higher on the track just to kind of salvage the speed that he does have, and it's only going to make that worse. But
what it's going to do is make the drivers behind him. It's going to get even harder to pass, as I think Waterworth had a moment in the back, but he kept it straight. No harm, no foul. Jeremy Miller's another one. He's starting to fade.
Whoa! Beckner, huge slide laterally in turns 1 and 2. Kept the wheel steady there through the center of the corner. He's tucked right up underneath Jeremy Miller. That got tight.
I don't know what happened there. I think Miller's really struggling, and I think Beckner just got caught at a bad spot. Contact there with the siding pad, and they kept it straight. I think Beckner's probably upset with Miller because he's kind of having no choice but to go backwards with him while the 30 really struggles.
Yeah, I described this last night. Like sometimes it feels like you're at Martinsville almost with all the concrete, and then you've got the challenge of getting shuffled out of line, not being able to make any progress with it. Here's Jake Matheson in the 52. Remember, he started very tail of the field, 40th place, and his progress has been slow but steady. Not even really all that slow, but it has been steady.
Definitely steady and clean, I would say. Saw someone hit the wall 1 and 2, but it was just a light tap. As 52's making progress as slowly as he can and as cleanly as he can, and that's the important part here. As Miller thought Springer's in trouble, Jeremy Miller's in even more trouble.
Yeah,
really going backwards, back to 23rd now.
Yeah, dropping like a stone. A little bit of scrum going on back here. Drew Jua, Seth Knoll. Remember, that was the 2-tire call for this number 1 truck. He's up to 29th, but a couple of trucks dodging and weaving back there. Drew Trader, Brad Slaughter Jr.
Garrett Grant's in the middle of that. He got the lucky dog. Edward Shearer's not too far behind that either. He's still waiting for his turn to get the lucky dog. But it's very madness there, but we're getting spread out at the front. The top 4 separated by 3 seconds. Ricky Springer is actually holding on well now. He fell back to 5th, but he's held that well as Matthew Babby really hasn't had a challenge for him yet. Eric
Wineland in the 21. He's going to go to the bottom here. Look at Seiden fighting, and it has Matheson on the outside. Whoa, that's sketchy. Bobbing and weaving, everybody scatters.
Oh, not over. Matheson hit the apron there. He got into a 45. That's kind of what set that off.
Yeah, that was a little dicey there, but
got some decent right front damage out of that. Looks pushed in where the splitter meets the track, so that could hurt his performance. I think Matheson just misjudged how much of a run he had on the 45.
And Wineland was so chill during that whole exchange. Spin, 98, Danny Ware, front straightaway, caution out.
Everyone's going to get by.
36. That was just a stack up, I think. That was sort of a couple of the, which truck was that? That was the 28 of Beckner.
That's Beckner, yeah. This is all kind of all stemmed from the 52 hitting the 45. Beckner goes to the inside of the 45.
Oh, the 98 was out of
loose on
control.
his own.
Yeah.
Beckner just kind of there, nothing he could do.
No, I think. And this was similar to the first incident that we saw where the trailing driver sees the slip, but Connor, sometimes they just gas up and drive away, right? So, yeah, he was not driving. He was leaving him space, and it just, you can't do much about it.
Just bad air as well. It's got a driver on his right rear, and he also got Beckner get right to his bumper. That's plenty enough to get someone sideways. There's nothing Beckner can do at that point. I think you get away without damage. Then Ware won't be as happy about it, as everyone's going to come down for a fresh set of tires, without a doubt. Even the one of Knoll, who took right sides the previous yellow from what we saw, and Edward Scheer finally got the yellow he needed. He'll be back on the lead lap, and we'll have 42 drivers.
So pit stops underway. The 17, Ed Scherer Jr., going to get the free pass. And that, we were just talking about how he hadn't had the opportunity to get his lap back. Now he will.
And if we see 2 tires here, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, as I said last night, if you're a Goodyear tire supplier in the state of Delaware, you're doing pretty good on a weekend like this. And Urashak is going to lead Sebastian Marin out of pit lane. Scherer Jr. came back around, but now he'll want to hit pit road.
Now we'll finally see if he can come through the field a little faster than what he was doing. He was very fast last night, but he kind of couldn't get through the field either from starting at the back. So we'll see if it's a different story for him tonight. He's got less time to do it than he had yesterday. He's already going to restart with just under 90 laps to go.
Laps clicking away here with green flag runs of about 8 laps and then another 27. Jonathan Evans in that number 9 is up to 3rd place. My pick to win tonight. You had the pole sitter.
This has been a great run for Evans. He's been top 3 all night, and he wasn't really getting caught by the 73 much. Nichols got the 4th. He was running good laps, but not really catching those top 3, including the 9 of Evans. So this is the type of run that Jonathan Evans needs.
Yeah, and you pointed out his poor results so far. Besides the win that he had at Daytona, it was a 26th at Texas and a 21st at Pocono, and he did not make the Charlotte race. So he really needs to turn things around. He's locked into the playoffs, but you've got to perform to make sure that when you get there that you've got enough left in the tank to actually compete.
Yeah, you don't want to win Daytona and then be in limbo. We kind of saw that season 4 with Justin Sogek. He won Daytona not only in the Truck Series but the Pro Series, and he wasn't really able to capitalize on that. Did not have a great regular season. I believe he was out first round of both of those seasons. So you need momentum to make it through. The 1 win is not enough. You have to be at the front running at least top 10 consistently along with the victory. Most of the time you need consistent top 5s to get to that championship finale. So that's something you got to pick up.
1 to green on our 2nd yellow of the night. And the interesting tidbit for me here is, well, it's twofold. The fastest lap is the 12 of Connor Urashak, and he's the only leader so far. Not a single lead change yet this race. We'll double up for the restart here. Ricky Springer, look at where he sits, 6th place for the restart. And he'll be in pretty good shape after dropping down on the tail end of that latest green flag run. Working lap number 40 of 130. We're going to get a restart with 90 laps to go. And so we're about 1/3 of the way through this race. As we come back to the restart here, the 12, the 32, the 9, the 73 are your top 4 here at Dover. Pace truck is off, and Connor Urashak, who has the fastest lap, he's the only driver to have led tonight. He's going to continue that on this restart into the acceleration zone. Green flag, and check up in the back. And they're piling in. The 30 is going to get rear-ended and crash front straightaway. What happened there?
No yellow yet.
Now we got
now
it. There
the caution's out.
It was one of the Hendry County trucks.
I think it was Daniel Day.
Yeah, he was leaving a really big gap, too. I don't know what was going on there. But, so, you think it was the 61?
Yes.
Yeah, so look at the gap he's got. And then when we get to the restart, he just does not go at all. And then the 30 is just a victim. And so is everyone else behind. I mean, they can't see. What was going on here?
Yeah, that was really weird. I thought I saw him laying back the previous restart too, but he went that time.
But look at his gearing. It's almost like he didn't know that he was coming to the restart. Look, at 1,500
he's like in
RPM.
4th gear.
Yeah, he just got caught sleeping there, and it cost a bunch of trucks behind him.
He lost track of paces. I'm really confused by that one. It was one thing to spin the tires, but he didn't have the RPMs to spin them.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think he was just in the wrong gear, didn't realize it.
Trying to see how many drivers got pretty solid damage out of it. Definitely Miller was the first one I saw go around. I think Tyler Hallman has damage from it. I think the 18 of Gagliano has damage out of that. Andrew Allen as well. That might be it. Let's see how many drivers come down to pit this time. It looks like Jeremy Brown has front end damage. Bryce Senesac, Drew Jua. So maybe about 7 trucks involved. Looks like Jake Matheson came to the pits, but his truck looks clean.
30 got put through the ringer there, front and rear. But this is just this is what happens when you get stuck in the back, right? Or even the midfield when things happen in front of you. You can't always dodge them.
You can't predict something like that.
No, or even if you could, where are you going to go, right? You're going to go left, you're going to go right, you're going to run into somebody else, run into the fence. So just a tough scenario there. We're under yellow now for the 3rd time tonight. Connor Urashak is the only leader so far. He was out to north of a 2nd lead, Connor. Does anybody have anything for him, or is this Urashak's night?
It's going to be tough to get by him. He's shown very good short run and long run speed. He never really had a challenge after the first lap after the restart from Marin, and he forced Marin low. He was able to pinch him off and get off the corner in the lead, and Marin was never able to challenge him. It might take some sort of strategy occurring to get by the 12 with the way things are going, because he looks very, very fast, and no one's really showed anything to get by him yet. Nichols is 4th, kind of hanging there. Ricky Springer was very fast short run, and he's actually decent long run after going fast short run, but he's not going to be in the right position quite yet to make a challenge. He's got to get further up than 5th or 6th.
Well, here's the good news, because all the trucks that are on the racetrack are on the lead lap. We get 1 to green a full lap quicker, so quicker yellow than the last time. And a replay partner is Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing returns to the Hendry County Motorsports Park on September 7th, including 360 Top Gun Wing Sprints, Cruiser Late Models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults, with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off US Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more info.
Oh, last week, Marin tried a lot of times timing the restarts at Charlotte, and ended up working out for him in the end with the victory, as we're going to get a delayed green. I think someone... Oh, we had a stack up. We had a crash entering turn 3 under caution.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that the 90? No, it's 18.
Oh, boy. Let's go back and see what happened here.
I think it was... What in the world?
Yeah.
I think it was Slaughter and Swan? Ryan Swan.
That looks like a hardware issue of some kind.
Yeah.
That did not look like that was supposed to happen. Watch again.
Yeah, that was a Ryan Swan thing. I think he had... This is one bad thing about iRacing, man. when this happens. I mean, there's nothing, you can't even fault the guy because it's just, I don't even know how this happens. But
yeah, so he clearly does not know that this is going on. Doesn't even.
Yeah, but it's Eric. Then he might have came back there.
Yeah, right.
Because then he actually reacts. He's like, "Oh no, what did I cause?"
Yeah, I mean, this is really unfortunate because you can't blame the driver for this necessarily.
No, that's nothing he can really do.
I'll bet you there's a lot of mad drivers right now. But what are you going to do, right? That's a scenario.
And a Sogak, Strayer, and Slaughter all involved.
Wow.
I think Jeremy Brown got damage out of that too. At least it was not bigger, but certainly unfortunate.
Yeah, weird one for sure, but let's get back underway here. Lap 46 of 130. We're past the 1/3 mark of this race. Urashak takes the field up to the high lane again, gives him a wider radius to get accelerated, and here we go, back underway at the Monster Mile.
A big stack ups at the back. I saw Jua into the back of Drew Trader, but everyone kept it straight there.
Urashak away cleanly. Sebastian Marin crosses him over, though, and he might have a run here onto the back straightaway, side by side for the race lead.
Urashak hit the wall. That could have been a crash very easily as Marin shoved it into turn number 3, trying to clear the 12, and he's going to do it.
Sebastian Marin takes the lead away from Connor Urashak. First lead change of the night, lap 47. Urashak wants it back, but he can't respond.
Struck on the apron, but he kept it straight. Couldn't tell who it was. I think it was Strayer might have damage, but that was a strong move by Marin. Very aggressive, and I think the 12 might have felt the pressure. Might have tried giving Marin too much room out of 2, and that's why he might have hit the wall. Now we got a new leader.
And it's been tricky to pass up front tonight. Urashak had led all 45 laps up to that point. Trucks scattering on the front straightaway. Miller's in the... Nope, that is another one of the 609 trucks. That's the 2 of Waterworth and the 1 of Seth Knoll on the outside. Big stack up there, but they cleared it.
Yeah, that's all behind Bree Schaefer. Slaughter's loose off the corner. That truck's probably really struggling because he's one of those damaged trucks from the incident under caution with left front damage. Schaefer and Knoll are clear of it. Slaughter's just trying to hold on to what he can as Marin continues to lead.
Yeah, but for how long? It seemed like Urashak was able to track him down a little bit. Was a couple hundredths quicker last time by. Doesn't sound like a lot, but he was a lot faster out in front of Marin on the prior run.
And if he gets to the bumper of the 32, he won't hit him because he doesn't need to. With how loose you can get someone from just getting under the rear bumper, he loosens him up, gets him out of the groove, ruins his run down the straightaway. He can get him right back. He's going to go to the outside here. He's trying to garner that run down the straightaways to get back close to his bumper instead of just running in his line. It seemed like he got that big of a run, actually lost time doing it. He might be backing off because he went way slow into turn number 3.
Got to be cautious, though, he doesn't burn up his tires as well. He hasn't been in an offensive position yet tonight. Don't want to use up all your stuff. Pace yourself. There's a long way still to go. Chris Seidenfeiden is alongside David Weishart. 33's on the bottom, 45's on the top, and Travis Beckner watching all of it out the windshield. Which line do you pick? One without the 33 in it.
Yeah, just classic case of kind of a lot what we saw last night. That driver gets very loose or tight, just can't throttle up off the corner. They lose their momentum. You got to jump to their right rear, get their outside, and just take that position from. That's what Beckner did. Perfect. He did that perfectly, and now he's up to 14th as he's still climbing back through the field after getting caught behind the 30, as there's a madness for 26th on back.
Oh, this is wild. All behind Ed Shearer Jr. Remember, he just got the free pass a couple of yellows ago, and he's right back in contention. 26th now. Clears whatever's going on back here with Eric Wineland. The 98's back here. Danny Ware after his spin.
And what Eric Wineland, he got rear end damage out of that. And when you're already running a loose setup and you get looser of drivers on your rear bumper, the worst type of damage you want is rear end damage because it's going to make that even worse. Plus, it just ruins your straight line speed. So he's really struggling at this point. Everyone's just trying to dodge him.
Marbles flying around there at the exit of turn 2. That's another thing here. This track rubbers up pretty significantly. Look at how black the bottom of the track is compared to the top. And those marbles will fly around. And yes, they do affect the handling of the trucks. We've really seen that effect kind of come back in recent years. It was really aggressive when they first launched it, but Dover in particular likes to beat up those Goodyear tires quite a bit.
And we're seeing it tonight. I mean, we haven't really noted the fall off. But the one run we had, Michael Venable, for his fastest lap on the long run we had was a 24 flat. He was running 25.5s by the end of that run. And even though the corner speeds are incredibly fast, that's still a second and a half worth of fall off over about maybe a 30 laps or so stretch. So still so much fall off, and you're seeing these tires get chewed up.
Jonathan Evans in the 9. Drops a spot to Jake Nichols in the 73, championship leader in that car. Had a really good car had a really good car in the Cup Series event, but was outpaced by the one of Seth Knoll. By the way, he's kind of back on strategy now here, Connor, so he used an extra set of right sides. He's P18 after starting back up in 3rd, so I guess it kind of all equaled out.
Yes, it has for now, but he's still got a lot of work to do to get to the front. He's kind of leading Gary Waterworth through there. They're 18th and 19th, and obviously Miller with crash damage, so he's trying to, I think he's trying to bide his time. We're close to halfway, though, so you can't take too long, but it's not like he's way behind. It's about 4 seconds from him to the race lead. A side-by-side ahead, I think it might be Beckner and Seidenfaden again. No, that is someone, that is Beckner and Seidenfaden again. They've been battling for a while here.
Daniel Day, he hasn't lost focus, but his camera has. He rockets down the back straightaway into turn 3. And I mentioned in the intro that drivers describe driving here as in the corners as taking off and landing, because the way the banking is shaped, you come up off the corner and you hear the revs climb, and then when you land into the corner, you get a big compression because you're falling down the banking. It's a really aggressive racetrack to drive, very rhythmic, but it is a lot of fun when you get it right.
It's the scariest corner exits because you literally jump out of the corner, and if you jump wrong, you're jumping into the outside wall. You hit it hard enough, you're going to hit the inside wall. So it is really treacherous trying to get up there, especially when you got someone right in front of you, kind of blind to what you're seeing on the corner exit. So you're just hoping to get it right. Looked like Shaneworth might have hit the wall entering, but didn't hurt him. He's up to 11 through all this, and it's a pretty packed up line behind Connor Yeroshak. Everyone's kind of bumper to bumper in this line from Yeroshak back to JT Poole at 12.
Yeah, watch the revs, watch the tack here, and watch it just come up a little bit off the corner. Right there, goes up about 500 RPM. That will make you want to change your underpants a couple of times a night. It is a spooky corner. It is dramatic. You mentioned up ahead, the whole cars struck side by side. John Hall, Cameron Hearn, and there's Hall in the 03, making progress forward in his Celsius F-150. Hall's a driver that has a win back at, I think it was it Texas? Yes, it was, that he got his first victory of the season.
And it's Dragon Bear, I believe, the flavor. He mixes up the flavors every week, it seems, and this one, hoping he gets consistent luck out of this one. He's up in the 8th after starting 15th, and even with everything that's happened already in this race, it has been a relatively slow climb for him. He tried to get 7th from Springer, not able to do so as we're still pretty packed up. You're starting to see Yeroshak and Nichols kind of separate from Jonathan Evans, though.
Ricky's given us a unique perspective here, the shifter cam on his number 51, and we should check in on this on a restart a little later tonight to watch him go to work, but curious if later in the run if he'll be going for a down, well, he wouldn't, not in these trucks, but last night he was going for some downshifts on occasion. Look at him working the wheel. You see his triple monitors there with the left side window. You can see the 89 of Bappy out the front corner.
Yeah, Bappy's kind of going to be the next one he's going to try to cross off his list. He's running a little higher, trying to get that run off the corner, but he doesn't want that low line. He knows he's not going to be able to make a pass there, so he's trying to get that lane higher and higher to get bigger and bigger runs off the corner as this run goes longer and longer. He's getting those runs, but he's losing a little bit too much in the corner to really make anything happen on the going into the next set of corners. So you can see he's pushing the limit there. He was maybe half a groove off the wall. I think he got too high that time. John Hall got under him, but nothing happened from that.
Truck slipping and sliding around towards the rear of the field. Here's Beckner on the outside of David Weishart. Beckner went by the 33 10 minutes ago, and Weishart would like to return the favor. Seth Knoll running behind and watching all of it off the windshield.
And Knowles moved up 1 spot since we last looked at him. He's trying to get another spot from Weishart. Kind of trying to pick off the scraps from this battle as Chris Seidenfaden will not give up. They're still behind this 45 truck at the same time. Beckner has not been able to pass him. That's why you're seeing Weishart pounce back at the 28.
Knowles squeezes to the outside of David Weishart and completes the pass that time. And the background, Trey Eitzen was encroaching on Pacey Weigents.
Almost had a crash for 31st.
Oh boy.
Drew Trader had a big wiggle, almost off the bumper of Adam Capps, it seemed like, but they kept the straight for now, but they're all sliding back here. Capps is way sideways.
Yeah, burning up the rears on his number 4 Chevrolet. All the while, Sebastian Marin leads by half a second, and it seems like the leader's got a real nice advantage here. Clean air is king tonight, huh?
Yeah, it seems like whoever gets out front on the short run is going to be able to keep on the long run. Yurushak might still be saving stuff, but he has not really gone to try to get the leaders yet, as we might run into some lap traffic here because of how many damaged trucks we have. Andrew Allen's not too far ahead, and then you got a pretty decent gaggle of lap trucks with damage. Senesac, Gagliano, Miller, Hallman, Brown are all up there.
Jake
see
Nichols
right there.
might use the, there's a lot of trucks up there. Jake Nichols might use this opportunity to try to find a way around Yurushak. They're running pretty equal times. Actually, Nichols is the fastest of the 3 leaders last time around.
And you're starting to see him move up the track, trying to put pressure on Yurushak. I think he sees the 32 getting further ahead than he wants him to be, and I think this is Jake Nichols kind of letting Yurushak know, you've either got to go or I'm going to go. Caution is out as quickly as we talked about that, as somewhere at a turn 4 down the front, something happened.
It was Travis Beckner was one of the trucks involved.
Yeah, he has his rear end damage.
Did he get picked up there by the 33?
It sure looked like it. Matheson and Schaefer got some pieces of it. They had, can't forget the contact at Chicagoland between these two. Kind of hurt Beckner's title run, but I don't think, I mean, nothing intentional here. Beckner kind of tries to go, I don't know if he tries to come up, but he comes up and Weishart's kind of there. Kind of hard for the 33 to do much about that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see if someone gets blamed for this. This isn't really a cut and dry scenario here, is it?
This is, I think, chalk up to racing. You see 33 has the groove, 28 comes up. It's just the lightest tap. It's all up to racing.
One of those weird scenarios, Connor, where it's like the 33 is not entitled to be to the outside, but you kind of feel like you should be, because you're not alongside yet. But you see the 28 just drifts a little bit, and it's just, yeah, that's a tough one.
Weishart will probably say Beckner didn't commit enough.
And that could be valid.
Should have lifted.
Yeah, but that's right. I mean, I think both drivers probably could have. 28 shouldn't have drifted, and the 33 should have lifted, but it's easy to say woulda, coulda, shoulda. Fourth Yellowknight, lap 72, and we're about 50 laps, 60 laps to go here, so we can probably make it to the end on fuel, yeah?
Yeah, definitely from here. We were definitely likely not going to do it there. But, yeah, no one's going to make it on fuel from there, from what I saw. But, yeah, everyone can make it from here as Sebastian Marin gets out first, and Yurushak, Nichols, Evans, Venable. So top 5 really unscathed through all this.
So now, this is sort of at the point when you're... Are we at halfway? Yeah, we are. So when you're past halfway, and this is a short race by Truck Series standards. Again, this would have been 50 minutes flag to flag without any yellows. About 25 minutes to go. This is when the intensity starts to ramp up, and you might leave a little less space, but racing so far has been pretty good tonight. Devin Johnson in the 90 has stayed out. Can't imagine that there's a legitimate strategy doing this, but we saw this go horribly wrong last night. Driver staying out and it kind of eventually causing a yellow. But he is...
got the one in green.
Yeah, we have everyone on the lead lap. 42 trucks on the lead lap, and Devin Johnson, I don't think this is going to work, but I'm willing to be proven wrong. I just think this will end in disaster. I'm predicting it now. If it doesn't, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, this is worrying, and I'm sure Connor Yurushak is livid, because Connor Yurushak is going to be, he was second off the pit lane. I'm sure he was fine with that, but now he's going to be third behind Devin Johnson. And Devin Johnson was not particularly near the front when the yellow came out. As a matter of fact, he was battling for 31st position. So this is going to be very, very sketchy.
Well, it's bold. What they say about pilots. There are old pilots and there's bold pilots, but there's no old and bold pilots. We'll see how this goes.
This is what Jake Nichols and Venable want to see. If they can get by, they'll get these spots from the 12. And you can see Yurushak, he's trying to push these drivers up the track, trying to prevent it.
This is smart too, right? Because the higher up on the racetrack you go, the less radius, it's be easier to get grip. But Johnson's middle of the road here, lap 74, coming to the restart here at Dover. And green flag, and we're off and away. And already, Yurushak was not waiting. And I just don't see how that was going to work for the 90. Maybe he's just trying to save a set of tires, but...
he got to survive first. He is really driving drivers up the track. Jake Nichols is going to get second out of this, so it's why Yerashak's going to be upset. As Johnson, I think he's just trying to get out of the way, get to the bottom. He's going to have a bad entry, and the Matheson. Does he save it? He does for now.
And he's going to dodge the 8. But see, this is why I don't get. I mean, good for him for saving that. But I just would, if you're going to do that, just to save a tire set, just take the EOL, right? I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of reason for that. But Marin takes the lead. Nichols, Yerashak, Evans, Venable, your top 5.
And that's why Yerashak's going to be livid, because he just lost a row. He lost the front row because of that. That's a huge moment in the race for him because it completely screws him. As a matter of fact, we're getting word he actually got a restart violation. He just alt-10 forward.
Oh my gosh.
So he got a restart violation for that because I think he passed the, I assume he passed the 90 on the inside too early.
Well, let's go back.
And he is out of the race.
Wow.
Because of that. He just straight up quit. I mean, watch this. Restarts green. Does he clear him?
It kind of looked like didn't it look like Johnson kind of went and then didn't? Watch the speed here.
It's not about the restart zone. It's he passed on the inside before
I see, right there.
The line.
Yeah, but the truck didn't go.
That's a black flag in iRacing if we go by iRacing rules.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I mean, that's one that the driver will be arguing about, but he didn't even bother.
Not buying Devin Johnson Christmas cards.
No. Yeah.
He was total control of this race for the most part. Top 2 for the entire race.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel for Connor, though. I mean, again, I don't believe that. I mean, obviously, again, it's iRacing rules. You can't change it. But I don't believe that should be a penalty. That, in my mind, that should get cleared because the leader obviously didn't go. And otherwise, you cause a crash, right? So that's tough for Yerashak, but it just is what it is.
Kind of funny that you have the restart zone in effect, but iRacing still penalizes for passing the low before the start finish line. I mean, that is the rule. You can't pass
but
low before the start finish line.
That obviously there's no nuance to the iRacing rule because it's a computer and has to make a decision, right? But in the real world, you probably wouldn't see a penalty for that scenario. Maybe you would, I don't know. But either way, 50 laps to go next time by, and Marin and Nichols are now your 2 race leaders, with the driver that led the most laps of the race out.
Yeah, and it definitely changes things for Nichols, because now if we get a caution, he'd restart front row, but he's trying to get the race lead. He's driving really hard to the rear bumper of Marin, got him a little loose out of the corner, but he's not going to look inside. He went to the outside, trying to get the right rear, maybe get a run on Marin into a corner, but not quite working out yet, as these two are driving hard, pulling away from Jonathan Evans.
Marin's got a win to his name so far this season. That came just last time out at Charlotte. Nichols does not have a win yet this season. His best finish was a second last week at Charlotte by inches to this driver right here. So they are very familiar with how to do battle.
Marin won over John Paul by 0.02. He's trying to maybe at least win by a car length. I don't think he wants to risk a photo finish at Dover because you rarely get those because it's hard to go side by side, full send out of a corner, out of 3 and 4. As Nichols is pushing, but cannot get close enough to make that move.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want any asterisks on your wins, right? And yeah, it was a photo finish. Yeah, it was a blast. But you would really like to dominate and have one, right? If Yerashak had won tonight, that's one that you chalk up. You put that on a poster and hang it on the wall. You know, the ones where you only lead one lap are fun, but it is really nice to just wax the field one time and not leave it up to chance.
We've seen tonight it's hard to wax because even when Yerashak had the lead, he got up to maybe about an 1/8 of a second lead. I think it's the highest we saw him have the lead. I think the 32 was about half a second ahead of a 12 on that previous long run, but it's seemingly hard to pull away even with the fall off we do have. Neither leader tonight can get away.
The 12 was the only one that was able to do that. But look at Nichols' gain here on the straightaway. He's going to go to the high side again. There's some lap traffic up the road. We didn't get to the lap traffic last time because of the yellow that happened behind. But Nichols is closing, and he is running faster. 200s quicker last time by.
Problem is he can get there entering the corner, but once you're lifting for the corner. He tries to get that outside. The 32 gets that jolt ahead, and he can't get to his inside or the outside. Just cannot get close enough to really make a difference in this battle. I think if he could, he'd drive hard not into the 32, but he would try to get on the bumper, or maybe
here we go.
It's a pick. This might be his moment, but he picks the outside, and Jeremy Brown's going to be out there, and he won't be able to take advantage. I thought he'd go to the inside, but he chose against it.
Well, that was, I think that was self-preservation there by Jake Nichols. Yeah, he could have taken him 3 wide, but at what risk level as Jonathan Evans and Michael Venable worked their way around. But Nichols, that was a very smart maneuver. I think he realizes he's faster, but he could have made a big mess out of that, and he chose not to. So that was, that's why he's got so many championships, Connor. The self-preservation here. Watch this.
Yeah, that was really tight. They'll have to pass him again. He's 2 seconds off pace. And yeah, looking at that, he really didn't have a chance to go low. I think if he had been seeing that earlier, maybe he's able to make that move inside, maybe clear the 32, but he didn't have time. If he tried to pull inside, he was wrecking Euroshak and probably himself, so he made the right decision, certainly.
Yeah. I think
I'm just worried they're going to catch him again, because like I said, Jeremy Brown's 2 seconds off pace, and the rest of the field's got to pass him.
Yeah, I think the point, you're right about all that. I think he didn't have time to do it. I think there are drivers that would have tried it, though, and I think that would have been a real mess. But Jake's going to try the outside again to build this run. And again, if we go to the end green, which is totally possible, what tire are you saving? Nichols is quicker now, but will he be quicker in 20, 25 laps?
I think right now you're keeping the right rear on it with Nichols running that high line, but that right front's going to be the one crying if he keeps running that line. Sebastian Marin, I think he's trying to save both ends of the tires, but the right rear is going to be the one kind of hurting when you're wrapping the bottom like that, as Hearn got way sideways, so did someone else. That's how tough it's been on these longer runs on these sets of tires.
Look at Trader.
3-1. Oh, 4-1.
Nope. That's not going to work. That's still not going to work.
He just backed out of that one. It's not done.
Still 3 wide. Justin Sogak in the middle of it. And Drew Trader just trying to pick his way through all this, and he is through most of it at least.
Trying to pick Jeremy Brown off. This is one of the worst tracks to be off pace.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can't really run and hide here. As Greg Creamer calls it, there's no disappear button unless you're going to use the Alt F4 key for that. I mean, there's really no way out of it.
Yeah, nothing you can do. It's just trying to struggle to get any sort of points possible. As we're starting to see, there's another lap traffic. That's actually Devin Johnson going a lap down, as he's going to get on the right rear of Nichols. That'll hurt the 73, but we're starting to see Marin space this lead out just a little bit, 4/10 of a second out of turn number 2, as Nichols has kind of moved back down the track, not as aggressive at this point, as we're under 40 laps to go.
Yeah, and not to harp on the 90 anymore, but again, now he's a lap down. He was not running well before, but he was on the lead lap at least. So I just don't see how this call was beneficial to him or anybody around him.
Yeah, I think he needed a yellow in like a 15-20 lap range for that to work, but
I'm all for
it. Now you're down.
I'm all for playing fun strategy. I think there's a time and place for it.
You might not even make it on fuel either. That's the other issue.
Well, right. I mean, I'm all for strategy, but that one was pretty clear that wasn't going to work. But here comes Venable in the 95 to the inside of Jonathan Evans. And, the Venable truck pushes big time here, center corner.
You get someone pinched on you, it really makes you struggle to get out of the corner. I think he is faster than the 9, but we have not seen really, I don't know how many passes we've seen on the bottom tonight. It seems like any time we've seen a pass, it's been someone ripping the top side like Ricky Springer has, as you can see how much he's struggling to get the power down, pinched off out of the corner.
Yeah, this is now 45 laps to go this time by. And a great battle here for P3, and Evans is not giving this up. It's allowing John Hall to close back in, and Batby and Moose are fighting behind as well.
Back up to 35 to go.
Oh, sorry, 35.
I was about to say, I thought my math was correct.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about 130 lap races, but they break all the traditional math I do in my head, because it's usually 120 or 140, and it's slotting right in between those. Makes my head hurt.
Yeah, but either way, we are kind of winding this down, as crazy as it is to think that. Everyone still has plenty of tires to make it work, so I would be shocked to see any strategy, even if we got a yellow. But we've seen how important track position is. If you get the lead, more times than not, you're keeping it. So that might entice drivers to take 2 tires. I just don't see it working if we get to that point, as Nichols has started to re-enter the battle for the lead. He kind of backed off maybe to a half a second gap. He's reeled Marin in by 2/10 after that, as John Hall's also trying to get this battle for 3rd. behind the lead battle.
Up to the outside. Look at the crossover from Venable. Nice throttle down to get underneath the 9. Is it going to be enough, though?
What he should try to do is maybe try to slide up and then try to push the 9 out of the groove. And that's exactly what he tried to do, but he couldn't do it. Evans just kind of moved his line up the track, but he did not get the throttle down like he needed to. He is really struggling with the right front tire, I think, and Venable's finally got this pass done. Now John Hall's going to try to do the same thing as Venable pushes up the track. I think Hall might be faster than both of them, but Venable kind of checked them up. Evans is going to get that run, and now John Hall's going to be in the same situation Venable had been in.
Yeah, great little scrap here for a top 5 position up into 3rd place. Lead is still about 0.4 of a second. We're 2 laps from 30 to go. Winding things down in the 5th round of the Area Truck Series season. We go road racing next week, a totally different skill set. And we'll see a different group of drivers at the front. I think there'll be some that will carry some skills over, but it is a wild card. It's the only time we go road racing this season.
And I gotta say, Venable got clear. Marin drove a 25.599 for Marin, a 0.634 for Nichols, a 0.473 for Venable. So once he got clear, he gained a decent chunk on those top 2. But coming to 30 to go, he's got to keep that gap up to have a chance at getting to 32.
That's tough to maintain that delta for another 30 laps. It's hard. Hard enough to have it now.
And slower than Marin that time as well. But you're starting to see, as you can see in the corners, the grooves are everywhere right now. Mostly everyone that's not in the lead or in the top 5 has moved up the track. Seth Knowles a little up the track. Daniel Day is a little high up the track as well. But you're seeing all sorts of lanes being used, that rubber getting pushed higher and higher. Weishart's well up the track, trying to get that diamond out of the corner to work. Oh, that's a wiggle. Oh, Shane will follow him. He was oil.
Jake Matheson up to 10th. Remember, he had to start at the rear. Well, didn't have to, but he qualified poorly. And he's now up inside the top 10. Maybe too little too late, Connor, to really have a threat for the lead. His best lap is about 0.2 off of Marin's and about a 10th off of Nichols.
He would need multiple things to go his way at this point. He did not choose to start at the back.
Nope.
Seth, well, he didn't, but he tried to qualify. Seth Knoll had no choice, but he couldn't try to qualify because he had EOL. Knoll is the 11th. He's also came through the field pretty well, and he's done it, as far as we've seen, cleanly, up to 11th after starting way at the back.
JT Poole, Pacey Wygant side by side. The fastest truck of the race was Connor Hirschak, who was 0.3 quicker than anybody else. But again, called it a night after getting a restart violation penalty on a truck with old tires.
I would argue it, but he clearly didn't feel the need to.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to be a stinger for sure. Especially he had the issue at Texas with internet that took him out of the lead. So he's had 2 close calls already this season. But he did have the win, I believe, at Pocono. So not going to hurt his playoff chances, at least, as we're looking at this battle. It might be the highest up side-by-side battle. It's for about 15th position. Pacey Wygant, JT Poole. Not really the pace we're accustomed to seeing from JT, and you can see how much he's struggling with the wheel, trying to work it and just stay in this top 15 position, 14th actually.
I love watching how he's gnawing at the wheel there, feeling the grip of those tires, finding the grip, letting the front slide, finding the grip again. And look how focused and dialed in he is. This is not an easy racetrack. This is one of the harder ones on the calendar to have a good race. It's just like Darlington, which will be out in a few weeks, Connor, where it's all fine and dandy until you hit the wall once, and then it's like you can't not hit it. It's just
crash, and it's Tyler Hallman in the 62 who was 38th position.
Wow.
And that will re-rack things once again.
That is going to be interesting here. Let's see what happened to Tyler Hallman. P38.
Battling with Andrew Allen.
I think he's just going to walk up the hill and bounce off his door, yeah.
26 kind of came down too.
Did he? I didn't.
A little bit. Kind of met in the middle. They were battling for position, but I can't imagine most of the field's going to be happy about a wreck.
This is not one of the positions
position
that they'll be okay with two drivers going for.
This is like when Hamlin lost the Brickyard because Landon Castle and Jeffrey Earnhardt crashed. 96 definitely came down a bit.
Yeah,
they were both out of control.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd.
Oh, that's. You don't want to see that.
No, you don't. This is going to make an interesting late race decision, though, for the entire field. Do you pit or do you commit?
You gotta pit for tires. The only question is if you take 2 or not. I still think you're gonna be too out of control to take 2 tires, but the fall off, we were in the 26-second range. I think you can't stay out. It's not gonna work. And everyone should, I think, have a set after this, but we're gonna restart at 20 to go.
I should be done. Yeah, I wouldn't bother coming back down again. I think the chances for yellows after the restarts make it compelling enough not to pit. That's why I think a 2-tire call could work, but I don't know. These guys have done a pretty nice job tonight, so I don't know that I would risk that. I think I want 4. I want to be able to race.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what everyone else does. That's Jeremy Brown, okay. I believe. He was the laps down, so...
It's like 4 for all these trucks.
I think John Hall took 2. Nichols going to come out second. Doesn't look like much strategy there.
Yeah, 4
I think
tires.
Everyone knew it had to be 4.
Well, and that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't need experiments going wrong. I mean, this is not the time of the race to experiment. If you were going to take 2, you would have tried that earlier.
Well, we knew 0 wasn't going to work. We did get that example.
That was a lesson I think we learned a couple of years ago, actually.
Yeah.
Fall off is just so big here. I mean, that'll work. I mean, if you're talking to next gen at a road course or something, don't take tires, right? There's not a lot of fall off there, but at Dover with a truck, whew.
Yeah.
So everybody took 4. There's not a single truck that took anything other than 4 tires, and everybody pit.
We'll get that extra pace lap because Tyler Holman and Jeremy Brown are laps down.
Well, I can use this. We haven't had a lot of yellows tonight, so I haven't gotten through all my ad reads. This works out nicely. Elite Entertainment adds some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment, located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info, and check out the High Banks podcast. Just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter. Check them out on Spotify. It has been a pretty interesting race, although you'd argue that it has been really spicy to get a late race yellow with just over 20 laps to go. Make sure you head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. They've got flavors like Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, and South Beach Heat. Of course, we've got the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series, and see which driver takes home that $100 prize, being the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. All right, so 43 starters tonight, Connor, and 38 of them are on the lead lap and running with minimal damage. That is a big difference from last week. We're going to get a restart with 19 laps to go. How do they keep it on the upside like they've been so far?
Well, hopefully they still got to give room. You can't just throw caution out the window. You still need to give room. You can't be tucked up behind someone's rear bumper. They will get loose and they will cause a big crash. So you got to at least give space in that aspect. Pinching's one thing, but you get right under the bumper of someone, you're going to cause a crash. So these drivers got to be careful here. And we still have to get through another set of restarts. We had at least one restart crash, but that was really because someone wasn't ready for the restart. Completely different from what we saw last night. Track temp still very high. It's the highest it's been all week. It's higher than it was in Cup, 123. I see 124, but still very, very hot. The drivers got to be ready for it. This is one of the first restarts where we're not going to see Euroshack push the lines upwards. We'll see if Sebastian Marin's strategy is the same. Doesn't look like he's pushing them up as high. I'm saying that he is coming up or even making contact.
Yeah, I do like this, actually. This has been a pretty key thing to avoid being on the inside of this radius. It means you're actually going straighter into the restart zone because of the wider radius. It's a good call. Marin's going to take the field up there in the 32. Outside of the rubber with 19 laps to go from Dover, and the outside lane doesn't go very well. Stack up and crash.
Here we go. This is a huge one.
And everybody's in this one.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we used up all our good luck, didn't we? Oh, man.
Yeah, that was obvious after the 73 didn't go. Oh, look out. still hitting each other.
Oh boy, we're going to have to go back a little further to.
Oh, there's a hot. Yeah, that was at least a dozen trucks.
Yeah, so the 73 gets kind of caught. Yeah, good boy.
Yeah, it starts with Nichols. I think Nichols might have had John Hall on his bumper, and that's why he doesn't go. Yeah, I think Hall kind of gets his rear tires off the ground, and then John Hall spun him himself.
I mean, at this point, it's just everybody.
Ooh, and yeah, I mean, Cameron Herm pile drove Travis Beckner. He had no clue what was happening either. Goodness, look at that. Matheson, Waterworth, Grant, Shane Wolf. It's easier to see who isn't in this crash, actually. And I might not be exaggerating this time. Look at this, just stop. Nothing you could do. God, look at that. Kerry Waterworth, I don't even know if he did hit anyone there.
And in the 67, you pointed out he couldn't see much of anything. I'm trying to find where he is on track. 39th now. But he won't be able to see much of any of this, so he's ready to go. Back on throttle, go, 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 and then the world stops, and then too late.
He saw smoke, and then Travis hit the brakes. It was like simultaneous. I don't think there's anything he could do there.
No, certainly not.
Look at that parking lot.
Well, we won't see any pit stops or strategy on this one, so while we've got a few minutes, let's take a look at the Grid Life Summer Apex Festival from last week. A really exciting festival from my workplace on the weekdays. We'll be back after this.
Live look outside. There is so much going on around the area this weekend, and a lot of it is right along the lake. A new thing here at Road America. This is Grid Life. There's a whole thing going on this weekend. Big race there as well, but they got a nice, cool laser show. I've never seen this before.
looks like he might have been the only one with significant damage.
I think this was assisted. No.
I think he got loose.
He got loose and then got helped, but
Semi-assisted. It's kind of same thing we saw, I think, the first crash of the night with the 60. He got loose and driver behind, no time to react.
yeah, probably something to be said for leaving a little more margin there, but for the 17. But
And he's got rear end damage.
yeah,
I think he just said over the radio he's got another leaping penalty point, and he had he had the drive-through tonight.
was that for the 17? You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly,
He gets called for that, though. Would be a one-race suspension.
yeah, I mean, not trying to pile on or anything, but I do think that there is more that he could have done, right? I mean, obviously the 00 didn't help the situation by being loose in front of him, but that's what leaving some more margin, giving a driver a second to collect themselves is all about. So I don't know that they're going to call him on that, but if they do, I don't know that it's necessarily out of line, but we're going to be down to the last under 10 laps to go here. And Marin and Venable are your front two. Jake Nichols drops to third, and Jonathan Evans is fourth. Now it becomes interesting. Do you think the 32 is going to choose the inside, or will he swing up to the outside for a late restart?
I think he's got to pick. He's just got to stay with the inside. I don't think outside is really worth it. It's really not. I don't think it's worth trying and potentially giving that up. I think he's fine just picking what he's got. Still trying to look back at everything that happened. The first thing I saw was the 38 got sideways. He actually had damage from the restart crash. It was not from anything that happened under that run. It seemed like his truck was just so totaled he couldn't handle it. And now he's back on pit lane trying to recover what he can. And then the lap after, the 88, also with left front damage, also couldn't handle his truck and did the same thing and had a half spin. And somehow neither of those brought out the yellow.
Yeah, that big wiggle out of two. Saw it kind of happening mid-corner, and then everyone did a pretty nice job kind of bailing to miss it. But we're going to get a restart probably with 7 or 8 laps to go. And Seth Knoll up to 5th place. What a night it has been for the one. And Ricky Springer up into 6th. Surviving this long. And they split the double penalty points with the 00 and 17, Connor. So how does that play out?
So the 17 will avoid suspension. 00, I don't think had any points, so we'll just give him a fair warning. But I mean, it's all kind of unofficial because they'll rule officially after the race. But I think it's the right call. I mean, yeah, you give room, but it's not like he was on his bumper.
No, yeah, I mean, just to be clear, the 00, I mean, he was loose and was slowing down in a weird place. But yeah, I guess point being is you listen to the throttle trace and it, no jump out of the throttle. So I think a penalty point 1 is warranted. 2 may be a little harsh.
Yeah, I think it's shared fault. I would agree. It's kind of a racing deal to me, especially with how frantic that was. I don't even know if it's 2 to green or 1 to green here, but either way,
1, I would think.
looks like Marin's getting ready to choose bottom here, so should be 1 to green with everyone doubled up anyways.
You know what I really like is the choose rule. I would very much like that. I think that's a really
cool.
neat rule. I think it's one of NASCAR's best rule implementations of the last decade or two. This might be a hot take, but I think of all the rule changes NASCAR's made in the last 15 or 20 years, I think that the choose rule is the best implemented of those.
I don't think that's much of a hot take. I think everyone likes it. Because before, if you just got screwed if you weren't on the lane you wanted.
Yeah.
Like at Atlanta, before they repaved it, if you were on the outside lane, you were done. In the last 10 years of that pavement or so, if you restarted outside, you had nothing.
Yeah, brings an extra little strategy component. Doesn't hurt anybody. There's pros and cons to every decision. I think it's very easy to understand. Job well done. So here's your Ricky Springer shift cam. We'll get a look at that on the right-hand side of the screen. Watch him rip up through the gears. And while that happens, it'll be 7 laps to go. Marin and Venable are your race leaders. Down to crunch time here at Dover. Here we go. Green flag, we're back underway in Dover, Delaware.
Oh, Jonathan Evans spun him. They're going to wreck again. Oh, and they're going to pile up late. Case Lakatos, that was not as big.
Yeah, that was much better handled there. But again, why is this happening? What's happening here? He just kind of drives into the wall and then he...
Yeah, that wasn't really wheel spin. He kind of just drove into it. Looked like Daniel Day kind of had contact with the 51 after, then the 50 got hit.
This doesn't do me any good. He was my pick to win tonight.
And he had a darn good run. Yeah, he didn't really spin him. I think, like you said, the contact with the wall just threw him out of whack. And he got hit in the rear, so that's a shame because, like we said, he needed a good run.
He did spin him, but he went to the right versus, I mean, if you're going to spin into something, you'd prefer the wall versus the field, but it doesn't matter because he didn't have enough time to recover before everyone just kind of drives into him. But what can they do?
For the most part, everyone did a great job avoiding. There's only so much you can do. In fact, that was maybe 6 trucks, actually pretty good. I think the 50 got a bump from the 4, and that's what spun him.
Yeah, I would say, though, that the last couple of weeks, that I think the big focus is the restart stuff, right? I mean, I think that the amount you gain by being perfect is so much less significant the amount you lose by messing it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like you don't need to nail it every time. You just got to get through it. And if you're not getting through it, I guess at least this time, I think the 9 was probably the worst off of the trucks. Maybe Eric Wineland got a worse end of the deal, but again, I made a joke the other night about bringing the horsepower back like everyone wants. Well, I don't know that that's such a great idea until we can modulate 425 horsepower. Let's start there. But
I think Case Lakatos might have gotten the worst of that. After getting hit by the 4, Wineland's on pit road repairing, 88's still on pit road, 50's on pit road. But most part, the top 5 stayed the same. All this, it put Seth Knoll in 4th. So it's been a wild climb for him. Jake Matheson's actually 7th. He was in that restart pileup, but he's been able to survive. And our 8th caution for 32 laps. And we've only had 3 leaders, 3 lead changes. That's how tough it's been to pass at the front. Sebastian Marin, I guess our 3rd leader.
Yeah,
the other one must have been Devin Johnson, yes.
I think that's right. If we go to our last laps led, just to give you an idea. So Marin's led 78. Then we'll have to scroll all the way to the bottom to find Irashak, 47 laps led. He led effectively the opening 47 laps.
And then Marin got by him. Then Devin Johnson, wherever he is, led probably 2.
I think he's in this 21 to 30 bracket here, 24th. He led 1 lap.
It hasn't worked out horribly for him, I guess. I mean, in his fairness, I don't know, it put him off strategy point where he wasn't in the restart crash. He has a clean truck, 24th.
I mean, you could say it worked out for him. I would not attribute that to the strategy call. I would attribute that to a lot of luck. And
he's +7 from when he stayed out. Yeah, it's worked out. To him, it's worked out. He'll call it good strategy. It was a strategy call that got him those extra positions. That's what the 90 team will be thinking.
That's like saying because the Allies won World War II that I have my apartment. Yes, it's true. I don't know that they can necessarily be completely attributed to each other.
Well, yeah.
They might be related in a very vague form.
Yeah, we're going to get another natural green-white checkered here as well. As long as we get one to green here, it's what it would be. And it's every time Marin's launched, the driver on the outside, they've not been able to stay. The only restart we saw the leader lose it was when Yerashak lost it, hit the wall out of 2 after Marin crossed him over. So that's going to be something Venable's going to have to try to do, but that was a tough pass that Marin pulled off to get the lead, and it's going to be even harder to get it done now.
So, yeah, this will not count towards our 3 green-white checkers. And let's give this a go. So Sebastian Marin, Michael Venable are your front 2. Jake Nichols and Seth Knoll are your second row. Then it's the Jake Matheson truck on the inside of row 3, and Ricky Springer's up there as well. sounds like there was another penalty point issued. Was it to Adam Capps for not slowing down?
Yeah, like I said, he was the one who kind of slammed Case Lakatos into it.
Glad that they are
what that was
penalizing for that too. That's an important thing. Talked about it last night, I think, about how the real world reaction would never be to try to floor it through something.
Yeah.
And it's just a hard habit to break, right? But
Yeah.
here we go. 2 laps to go. 2 miles left at Dover. Sebastian Marin, Michael Venable, Seth Knoll. Here we go.
And I'm just going to try his best to time it. Stay right with 32.
Green flag. Not bad.
About all he could do, though. He is clear for second.
Yeah, that's not bad. I'll give him that. The 95 slots into P2. The 4 is going to try to rip the long way around the 73. He would like a 3rd place.
The one of Knoll. Teammates are going to go at it for the top 3 position, as Venable is going to be the only one able to have any charge for Sebastian Marin as we're coming around to try to get the white flag, and I think we will get it.
And white flag. 1 lap to go at Dover. Crash on the front straightaway. It's big. Drew Trader's involved. Ryan Swan's involved. The 17, the 88.
Patrick Moose. They all crash into turn 1. Marin still clear out of turn number 2 for the lead.
Down into turns 3 and 4. Sebastian Marin. 1 win under his belt last week by inches. This week, it's by dozens of feet. Sebastian Marin wins at Dover. Venable, Knoll, Nichols, Batby, the rest of your top 5.
Good finish. Oh, and crashing into turn 1. Danny Ware. I think Drew Jewell was mad at Danny Ware for something, because that was clearly intentional. And
well, let's
not
look at
to mention
that
the
one.
wreck on the white, but Sebastian Marin, he was dominant tonight.
Yeah, let's go back and look at
Look at all these trucks finishing.
Danny
1
Ware.
modified, 2 modified. Goodness.
Look at this one first. This is what just happened post-checkered flag. There's the checker.
Something happened before this, because
Oh, wow.
that's obvious. And the 13 came in tonight with an EOL, so that will not help his case.
No. So let's go back. 98's in the wall.
Team hit him. You know, no harm, no foul there.
Yeah, I don't know how the 98's at fault for anything yet. Does he throw a block on him or something here?
3 wide.
Yeah.
98 kind of got, I mean, that's 3 wide into the corner, then the 98's loose.
Oh, did he think that was...
That's kind of racing.
Yeah,
I see why the 13's mad, but that was just 3 wide into turn 1. There's not much Danny Ware could do there.
No, I don't know that the response, the punishment didn't fit the crime, I don't think, but...
Kind of what we saw Thursday night after the white, after a checker came out. I mean, that's blatant.
Yeah, again, I don't think that, for Drew, like, it might have made him feel better in the moment, but I don't think that was worth doing for a lot of reasons. But
it's going to give him maybe even a drive-through next week. That won't work. And then we'll see what happened to kick all of this off.
Yeah, so what was the first truck? So the 25 was in it.
It might have been the 20.
Right here, so Swan drifts up, bounces off the 2, and then bam, they're in the fence.
And it just kicks off. Shearer has nowhere to go. 88 has nowhere to go. 38 has nowhere to go. They wrecked into turn 1 even more than that.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, that was, so the 88, I think, was carrying a
all
whole
the
bunch of
pieces.
speed. Yeah, look at them flying around. I guess this is the time when you shouldn't lift, right? Because last lap, race is going green. He actually did lift, too.
He tried. He had nowhere to go.
Thought he just tried to Danica it there, but no. All right, well, finished.
In style?
I suppose. Let's
Merrick finished in style.
Well, let's go back and let's chat with our top 3 after we have a quick look here at our race results. And it is Sebastian Marin by a half a second this week. That might as well be a mile compared to how much he won back at Charlotte. And Michael Venable, Seth Knoll, and only 1 Ford, 1 Toyota in the top 10, Connor.
Yeah, in the top 10, there's some drivers who really had to work to get the top 10. Seth Knoll, he qualified 3rd and finished 3rd. But that does not tell the whole story. He had an EOL and came all the way back to get 3rd. Nichols falls back to 4th. I think he'll be upset about that after the restart. He was 2nd. He was in contention to maybe steal the win. Could not do it. Matheson climbed all the way up to 6th. Eitz in 7th. Springer 8th. Daniel Day 9th. Danny Ware, even before what happened on the cooldown lap with the 13, he gets a top 10 out of it. I think he'll take that. And Waterworth and Miller had damage early. I think those two will also take that, those 2 finishes.
Yeah, I think they will take him as well. And you look down the rest of the order there, Travis Beckner in 16th. I don't know that is exactly where his pace was. Same with John Hall getting tangled up in a late race accident. Garrett Grant pulls an 18th out of that after starting with a drive-through. David Weishart 22nd. Drew Trader pulls out a 25th despite the crashing at the end there. And look down the rest of the running order. Brett Slaughter Jr. towards the bottom. Cameron Hearns, bad luck streak continues. Connor Yurashek, biggest pain for him, Connor, is that he probably could have, should have, would have won this race.
Yeah, nothing you can do when the guy in front of you on old tires does not go, and he was very upset as well, understandably. So 42nd place for him. And like you said, the bad luck for the 67 of Hearn continues. It continues for Slaughter in the truck series. He's had nothing go his way. He was below the top 40 in the standings coming in tonight, and that will do no better.
Seth Knoll finishes third tonight, and Dover's been good to you, man. First last night, third tonight in the 609 Motorsports truck, and just shy of a win here this evening. Pretty fun racing, but it seemed like it was hard to make progress up at the front of the field. Take us through your perspective tonight, racing around Michael and Jake and Sebastian there at the end.
Well, I can't really speak too much on the front of the pack. I was started, like 40th or something in reality because of the OL. I had a blast though. I mean, I driving through the field, hot track, slipping and sliding, saving tires, people falling back, people going forward. Like I was having a blast in the mid pack. It was a little bit of chaos at the end, similar to last night, but good fun. Back-to-back career nights. I will take that. Good night for 609. Me and Jake getting third and fourth. I think all of us actually had a really good night with Jeremy in 12th and Gary in 11th. So good night for all of us. Yeah, just a good execution night after starting from the back.
Seth Knoll, third place in the number 1 609 truck. Seth, thanks for chatting and congratulations. It was a good week for you here in Cup and the trucks.
All right, appreciate you, Kyle.
See ya.
Bye.
And Michael Venable comes home in second place in the number 95 Elite truck. And Michael tonight up at the front all night long, but didn't lead a lap. It was so close, just out of reach, and a half a second back from a win. Take us through your night. What did you need to catch that 32 at the end?
It's so hard to pass. I don't know if I could have, honestly. I don't know what I needed.
Well, it was an interesting night. We had a big stretch of some green flag running here and there, and then some yellows towards the end. The restarts in particular were a challenge, lots of stack-ups and tires slipping and sliding. What made those so tricky tonight?
The gearing was very weird. So you were pretty much forced to start in first gear. So I think that got a lot of people getting their tires spin.
Well, tricky night for sure, but a second place, not a bad night, and all things considered as you look at the championship battle. No wins yet, but you've been pretty consistent. Now it'll be your fourth top 10 and third top 5. Looking kind of big picture towards the end of the season, do you anticipate any of the upcoming tracks potentially being a spot where you could grab a win?
I don't know. Maybe 1 or 2. Hopefully we can snag a win, but yeah, consistency will try and ride that train.
Well, the train heads to Sonoma, California next week. 37 laps on the 2-mile course there. We'll see you there next week. Michael, thanks for talking, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You as well. Sebastian Marin comes home in first place, and boy, this has got to be a good one for you, Sebastian, because last week out at Charlotte, you won by inches, centimeters, millimeters almost. This week, you leave it a little bit less up for debate. 0.5 of a second ahead of Michael Venable there at the end. And, man, Connor Yurashek was really good, but he didn't finish the race. You did. You led the most laps in one. Take us through your night here at Dover.
Yeah, it was another great night, obviously. Like you said, unfortunate what happened to Connor there. I think the race was going to be between me and him. I think we just had a little bit more over the other guys. And it's a shame what happened to him on the restart there. That took him out of contention and kind of left me in my own boat. I feel like if I could just control my own pace and my own destiny, I feel like I could hold off everybody. The first run, Connor just was lights out that first run. I mean, he was perfect. I was not going to catch him. If that went green for 10, 20 more laps, he would have been seconds ahead. He was just lights out the first stint. And then after that, kind of learned what he was doing a little bit. And then caught him sleeping there on the restart, took the lead. and it just seemed really hard to pass. So we kind of knew whoever got the lead would kind of manage the race. So you could see him attempt to move, then he would back off a little bit to get away from the dirty air, and then there at the end of the run before that yellow, we were kind of evening out through each other. So overall, a great run with my buddy there finishing second and Michael. So I couldn't ask for anything better. Just wish we could have seen how the race would have played out if Connor wasn't taken out of contention, but I can't be too disappointed with the win.
Certainly can't be. Sebastian Marin wins at Dover. We'll see you next week at Sonoma. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Connor. Well, it was an interesting night, and honestly, big improvement from the last couple of weeks. I still think there are some areas to focus on for the drivers trying to make it through a night and survive to the end. But great racing when it was racing at Dover. Big green flag runs in the middle of the race, and we didn't quite get to see it play out the way we had hoped, but all in all, good fun here at Dover.
Yeah, a lot of good racing, a lot of side-by-side action. We saw the grooves kind of widen out like we anticipated, although it was still really hard to pass at the front of the field. We saw some passes inside the top 5 late in that final long run that we did get, and I thought the action was outstanding. We still got the high yellows, mostly inflated near the end of that race after the yellow of 20 to go in the battle for 37th. But either way, I thought the racing was fun. The hot track, I think, played a factor in that as well. We had tire fall off, and finally got our first repeat winner in the Truck Series this season, and it might be, at least to us, from a name that we weren't really anticipating, but Sebastian Marin is for real, no doubt about that.
Yeah, he has showed up in a big way. Championship contender and now the top seed heading into the playoffs, even though that's a long ways away. Next week, though, we won't see a yellow flag. We're going road racing in Sonoma, California. The 1.9-mile road course will hold our 6th round of Season 6 of the Area Truck Series. We'll see you from wine country after heading to the Northeast. We're all the way across the United States to the Napa Valley. We'll see you at Sonoma.